Hey crew, it's Pitt and I am back with some more philosophy. Today we are diving back into the works of Friedrich Nietzsche. This is Thus Spake Zarathustra. We are up into the second part, chapter 32, the dance song. But before we begin, if you are unfamiliar with me or any of my unconventional beliefs, if at any point in time you get lost in the weeds by some of the things that I say, there are various playlists that are linked in this corner up here and in the box down below, along with the original source material, so that you can go back and try and understand what it is I'm talking about. I try to be clear, but sometimes I am not. We are reading and discussing. It's not the format for everybody, but some people seem to enjoy it, so let's dig in and talk about the dance song. One evening, when Zarathustra and his disciples, one evening went Zarathustra and his disciples through the forest, and when he sought for a well, lo, he lighted upon a green meadow, peacefully surrounded with trees and bushes, where maidens were dancing together. As soon as the maidens recognized Zarathustra, they ceased dancing. Zarathustra, however, approached them with a friendly mien, and spake these words: Cease not your dancing, ye lovely maidens. No game spoiler hath come to you with evil eye, no enemy of maidens. God's advocate am I with the devil. He, however, is the spirit of gravity. How could I, ye light-footed ones, be hostile to divine dances, or to maidens' feet with fine ankles? To be sure, I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses. And even the little god may he find, who is dearest to maidens. Beside the well lieth he quietly, with closed eyes. Verily, in broad daylight did he fall asleep, the sluggard. Had he perhaps chased butterflies too much? Upbraid me not, ye beautiful dancers, when I chasten the little god somewhat. He will cry, certainly, and weep, but he is laughable even when weeping. And with tears in his eyes shall he ask you for a dance, and I myself will sing a song to his dance, a dance song and satire on the spirit of gravity, my supremest, powerfulest devil, who is said to be Lord of the world. And this is the song that Zarathustra sang when Cupid and the maidens danced together. Of late did I gaze into thine eye, O life, and into the unfathomable did I there seem to sink. But thou pullest me out with a golden angle. Derisively didst thou laugh when I called thee unfathomable. Surely such is the language of all fish, saidst thou. What they do not fathom is unfathomable. It's a hard word for me. But changeable am I only, and wild, and altogether a woman, and no virtuous one. Though I be called by you men the profound one, or the faithful one, the eternal one, the mysterious one, but ye men endow us always with your own virtues. Alas, ye virtuous ones! Thus did she laugh, the unbelievable one. But never do I believe her and her laughter when she speaketh evil of herself. And when I talked face to face with my wild wisdom, she said to me angrily, Thou willest, thou cravest, thou lovest, and on that account alone dost thou praise life. Then had I almost answered indignantly and told the truth to the angry one, and one cannot answer more indignantly than when one telleth the truth to one's wisdom. For thus do things stand with us three. In my heart do I love only life, and verily most when I hate her. But that I am fond of wisdom, and often too fond, is because she remindeth me very strongly of life. She hath her eye, her laugh, and even her golden angle rod. Am I responsible for it that both are so alike? And when once life asked me, Who is she, then, this wisdom? Then said I eagerly, Ah, yes, wisdom. One thirsteth for her, and is not satisfied. One looketh through veils, one graspeth through nets. Is she beautiful? What do I know? But the oldest carps are still lured by her. Changeable is she, and wayward. Often have I seen her bite her lip and pass the comb against the grain of her hair. Perhaps, sorry, perhaps she is wicked and false and altogether a woman, but when she speaketh ill of herself, just then doth she seduce most. When I had said this unto life, then laughed she maliciously and shut her eyes. Of whom dost thou speak? Said she. Perhaps of me? And if thou wert right, is it proper to say that in such wise to my face? But now, pray speak also of thy wisdom. Oh, and now hast thou again opened thy eyes, O beloved life, and into the unfathomable have I again seemed to sink. Thus sang Zarathustra, but when the dance was over and the maidens had departed, he became sad. The sun hath long been set, said he at last. The meadow is damp, and from the forest cometh coolness. An unknown presence is about me, and gazeth thoughtfully. What, thou livest still, Zarathustra? Why? Wherefore? Whereby? Whither? Where? How? Is it not folly still to live? Ah, my friends, the evening is it which thus interrogateth me. Forgive me my sadness. Evening hath come on. Forgive me that evening hath come on. And this doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. There's not, like, it's some kind of a simile, it's some kind of a metaphor, but I can't put a finger on it. It is, he stumbles upon women in the forest dancing and enjoying themselves, playing a game, and they're frightened when he comes along, but he sees Cupid laying next to the well, and Cupid's asleep instead of doing his job as would be expected. And then there's this one person, and some of that is maybe some self-reflection, but for the most part, that was mostly just nonsense, right? It was something. I'm not sure what, but something. I don't even have anything really to add to that. That really did not make a whole lot of sense. But I could go back and dissect it maybe, but this isn't the format for that. So 33. The Grave Song. Yonder is the grave island, the silent isle. Yonder also are the graves of my youth. Thither will I carry an evergreen wreath of life. Resolving thus in my heart that I sail over the sea. O ye sights and scenes of my youth, O all ye gleams of love, ye divine fleeting gleams, how could ye perish so soon for me? I think of you today as my dead ones. From you, my dearest dead ones, cometh unto me a sweet savour, heart-opening and melting. Verily it convulseth and openeth the heart of the lone seafarer. Still am I the richest and most to be envied, I, the lonesomest one. For I have possessed you, and ye possess me still. Tell me, to whom hath there ever fallen such rosy apples from the tree as have fallen unto me? Still am I your love's heir and heritage, blooming to your memory with many-hued, wild-growing virtues. O ye dearest ones! Ah, we were made to remain nigh unto each other, ye kindly strange marvels. And not like timid birds did ye come to me and my longing, nay, but as trusting ones to a trusting one. Yea, made for faithfulness like me, and for fond eternities. Must I now name you by your faithlessness? Ye divine glances and fleeting gleams, no other name have I yet learnt. Verily, too early did ye die for me, ye fugitives. Yet did ye not flee from me, nor did I flee from you. Innocent are we to each other in our faithlessness. To kill me did they strangle ye, ye singing birds of my hopes. Yea, at you, my dearest ones, did malice ever shoot its arrows to hit my heart? And they hit it. Because you were always my dearest, my possession, and my possessedness, on that account had ye to die young, and far too early. At my most vulnerable point did they shoot the arrow, namely at you, whose skin is like down, or more like the smile that dieth at a glance. But this word will I say unto mine enemies, what is all manslaughter in comparison with what you have done to me? Worse evil did you unto me than all manslaughter. The irretrievable did ye take from me. Thus do I speak unto you, mine enemies. Slew ye not my youth's visions and dearest marvels? My playmates took ye from me, the blessed spirits. To their memory do I deposit this wreath and this curse. This curse upon you, mine enemies, have ye not made mine eternal short? As a tone dieth away on a cold night. Scarcely as the twinkle of divine eyes did it come to me as a fleeting gleam. Thus spake once in the happy hour my purity. Divine shall everything be unto me. Then did ye haunt me with foul phantoms. Ah, whither hath that happy hour now fled? All days shall be holy unto me. So spake once the wisdom of my youth, verily, the language of a joyous wisdom. But then did ye enemies steal my nights, and sold them to sleepless torture? Ah, whither hath that joyous wisdom now fled? Once did I long for happy auspices, then did ye lead an owl monster across my path, an adverse sign. Ah, whither did my tender longing then flee? All loathing did I once vow to renounce. Then did ye change my nigh ones and nearest ones into ulcerations. Ah, whither did my noblest vow then flee? As a blind one did I once walk in blessed ways. Then did ye cast filth on the blind one's course, and now he is disgusted with the old footpath. And when I performed my hardest task and celebrated the triumph of my victories, then did ye make those who loved me call out that I then grieved them most. Verily, it was always your doing. Ye embittered to me my best honey and the diligence of my best bees. To my charity have ye ever sent the most impudent beggars. Around my sympathy have you ever crowded the incurably shameless. Thus have ye wounded the faith of my virtue. And when I offered my holiest as a sacrifice, immediately did your piety put its fatter gifts beside it, so that my holiest suffocated in the fumes of your fat. And once did I want to dance as I had never yet danced, beyond all heavens did I want to dance. Then did ye seduce my favorite minstrel. And now hath he struck up an awful melancholy air. Alas, he tooted as a mournful horn to my ear. Murderous minstrel, instrument of evil, most innocent instrument, already did I stand prepared for the best dance. Then didst thou slay my rapture with thy tones. Only in the dance do I know how to speak the parable of the highest things. And now hath my grandest parable remained unspoken in my limbs. Unspoken and unrealized hath my highest hath my highest hope remained, and there have perished for me all the visions and consolations of my youth. How did I ever bear it? How did I survive and surmount such wounds? How did my soul rise again out of the sepulchres? Yea, something invulnerable, unburiable is within me, something that would rend rocks asunder. It is called my will. Silently doth it proceed and unchanged throughout the years. Its course will go upon my feet, mine old will. Hard of heart is its nature, and invulnerable. Invulnerable am I only in my heel. Ever livest thou there, and art like thyself. Thou most patient one, ever hast thou burst all shackles of the tomb. In thee still liveth also the unrealizedness of my youth. And as life and youth sittest thou here, hopefully, on the yellow ruins of graves. Yea, thou art still for me the demolisher of all graves. Hail to thee, my will, and only where there are graves are there resurrections. Thus sang Zarathustra. And this one's a little bit more tangible than the last one was. This is the betrayal of friends. Now, we have already seen in the prelude that between the first and second one there was a grave betrayal in the estimation of Nietzsche by his friends. He felt betrayed in a very real way, and he isolated himself once again to the mountains. And this is apparently focused on that. I tried to do my best, and you made fun of me every step of the way. And that's probably where the betrayal was, right? It was easier at some point if people who are not aligned with you are around you and you are trying to do the correct thing, the people around you are going to ridicule you. They are. It's an immutable fact. People do not like seeing you trying to be a better you. They don't like you to try to better your position. They don't like you to try to better your attitude. They do not like you trying to be better. And so they desperately try to tear you down. They will throw whatever they can at you, and some of it might stick. Keep doing the correct thing regardless. Hold to thy will. Hold to what you know to be correct and trudge along even if you have to do it by yourself. And if there are graves, there can be resurrections. But until I put you to sleep, you cannot change. That, in my estimation, is what we were talking about here. It is his betrayal by his friends for the things that he considered to be correct. And he was trying to help lead them to correctness. And people don't like that. They really, really do not like that. Trust me when I tell you this. 34. Self-surpassing. Will to truth, do you call it, ye wisest ones? That which impelleth you and maketh you ardent. Will for thinkableness of all being, thus do I call your will. All being would make thinkable, for ye doubt with good reason whether it be already thinkable. But it shall accommodate and bend itself to you, so willeth your will. Smooth shall it become and subject to the Spirit as its mirror and reflection. That is your entire will, ye wisest ones, as a will to power. And even when ye speak of good and evil and of estimates of value, ye would still create a world before which ye can bow the knee. Such is your ultimate hope and ecstasy. The ignorant, to be sure, the people, they are like a river on which a boat floateth along, and in the boat sit the estimates of values, solemn and disguised. Your will and your valuations have ye put on the river of becoming. It betrayeth unto me an old will to power, what is believed by the people as good and evil. It was ye wisest ones, who put such guests in this boat, and gave them pomp and proud names, ye and your ruling will. Onward the river now carrieth your boat, it must carry it. A small matter if the rough wave foameth and angrily resisteth its keel. It is not the river that is your danger, but the end of your good and evil, ye wisest ones, but that will itself, the will to power, the unexhausted, procreating life will. But that ye may understand my gospel of good and evil, for that purpose will I tell you my gospel of life, and of the nature of all living things. The living thing did I follow. I walked in the broadest and narrowest paths to learn its nature. With 100-faced mirror did I catch its glance when its mouth was shut, so that its eye might speak unto me, and its eye spake unto me. But wherever I found living things, there heard I also the language of obedience. All living things are obeying things. And this I heard secondly, whatever cannot obey itself is commanded. Such is the nature of living things. This, however, is the third thing which I heard, namely, that commanding is more difficult than obeying, and not only because the commander beareth the burden of all the obeyers, and because this burden readily crusheth him. An attempt and a risk seemed all commanding unto me, and whenever it commandeth, the living thing risketh itself thereby. Yea, even when it commandeth itself, then also must it atone for its commanding. Of its own law must it become the judge and avenger and victim. How doth this happen? So did I ask myself, what persuadeth the living thing to obey and command, and even be obedient in commanding? Hearken Now unto my word, ye wisest ones, test it seriously, whether I have crept into the heart of life itself and into the root of its heart. Wherever I have found a living thing, there found I will to power. And even in the will of the servant I found I the will to be master. That to the stronger the weaker shall serve, thereto persuadeth he his will who would be master over a still weaker one. That delight alone he is unwilling to forgo. And as the lesser surrendereth himself to the greater, that he may have delight and power over the least of all, so doth even the greatest surrender himself and staketh life for the sake of power. And it is the surrender of the greatest to run risk and danger and play dice for death. And where there is sacrifice and service and love glances, there also is the will to be master. And byways doth the weaker then slink into the forest and into the heart of the mightier one, and there stealeth power. And this secret spake Life herself unto me. Behold, said she, I am that which must ever surpass itself. To be sure, you call it will to procreation or impulse towards a goal, perhaps the higher, remoter, more manifold, but all that is one and the same secret. Rather would I succumb than disown this one thing. And verily, where there is succumbing and leaf falling, lo, there doth life sacrifice itself for power. That I have to be struggle and becoming and purpose and cross purpose. Ah, he who divineth my will divineth well also on what crooked paths it hath to tread. Whatever I create, and however much I love it, soon must I be adverse to it, and to my love, so willeth my will. And even thou, discerning one, art only a path and footstep of my will. Verily, my will to power walketh even on the feet of thy will to truth. He certainly did not hit the truth who shot at it the formula, will to existence. That will doth not exist. For what is not, cannot will. That, however, which is in existence, how could it still strive for existence? Only where there is life is there also will. Not, however, will to life, but so teach I thee, will to power. Much is reckoned higher than life itself by the living one, but out of the very reckoning speaketh the will to power. Thus did life once teach me, and thereby, ye wisest ones, do I solve you the riddle of your hearts. Verily I say unto you, good and evil, which would be everlasting, it doth not exist. Of its own accord must it ever surpass itself anew. With your values and formula of good and evil ye exercise power, ye valuing ones, and that it is your secret love, and the sparkling, trembling, and overflowing of your souls. But a stronger power groweth out of your values, and a new surpassing. By it breaketh egg and eggshell. And he who hath to be a creator in good and evil, verily, he hath first to be a destroyer, and break values in pieces. Thus doth the greatest evil pertain to the greatest good, that, however, is the creating good. Let us speak thereof, ye wisest ones, even though it be bad. To be silent is worse. All suppressed truths become poisonous. And let everything break up which can break up by our truth. Many a house is still to be built. Thus spake Zarathustra. And so ends 34. And this one is talking about the the endless search for better me. Right? That is what I am drawing from this, is that he was still, despite the betrayal by his friends, searching for the better him. Now, no matter how good I am today, I have the potential to be better tomorrow. I can be stronger, I can be faster, I can be more compassionate, I can be more something. Some people chase downhill and some people chase uphill, but either way, you are chasing one of the things. If you are chasing uphill, it is a hard battle. You are defeating yourself every day. You are changing your own values every day, more perfectly aligning them with what you consider to be good. That is, in my estimation, what he is talking about here. Now, it could be something completely different, but overall, this seems to be I am trying to be better, and it is a difficult path. I keep continuously having to break things up. Things that I thought were solid, things that I thought were true and good, I am discovering are actually not. And so my values have to change. My being has to change, and that is within my will. That seems to be what I am pulling from this. You may disagree, and if so, let me know down below. I am open for other considerations, right? This is philosophy. It is a lot less certain than some of the magic things are. 35. The Sublime Ones. Calm is the bottom of my sea. Who would guess that it hideth droll monsters? Unmoved is my depth, but it sparkleth with swimming enigmas and laughters. A sublime one saw I today, a solemn one, a penitent of the spirit. Oh, how my soul laughed at his ugliness! With upraised breast, and like those who draw in their breath, thus did he stand, the sublime one, and in silence, overhung with ugly truths, the spoil of his hunting, and rich in torn raiment. Many thorns also hung on him, but I saw no rose. Not yet had he learned laughing in beauty. Glooming did this hunter return from the forest of knowledge. From the fight with wild beasts returned he home, but even yet a wild beast gazeth out of his seriousness, an unconquered wild beast. As a tiger doth he ever stand, on the points of springing. But I do not like those strange souls, ungracious is my taste towards all those whose self-engrossed ones. And ye tell me, friends, that there is to be no dispute about taste and tasting. But all life is a dispute about taste and tasting. Taste, that is weight at the same time, and scales and weigher. And alas for every living thing that would live without dispute about weights and scales and weigher. Should he become weary of his sublimeness, the sublime one, then only will his beauty begin, and then only will I taste him and find him savory. And only when he turneth away from himself will he overleap his own shadow, and verily into his sun. Far too long did he sit in the shade. The cheeks of the penitent and of the spirit became pale. He almost starved on his expectations. Contempt is still in his eye, and loathing hideth in his mouth. To be sure he now resteth, but he hath not yet taken rest in the sunshine. As the ox ought he to do, and his happiness should smell of the earth, and not of contempt for the earth. As a white ox would I like to see him, which, snorting and lowing, walketh before the plowshare, and his lowing should also laud all that is earthly. Dark is still his countenance, the shadow of his hand danceth upon it, overshadowed is still the sense of his eye. His deed itself is still the shadow upon him, his doing obscureth the doer. Not yet hath he overcome his deed. To be sure, in love with him, I love in him the shoulders of the ox, but now do I want to see also the eye of the angel. Also, his hero will hath he still to unlearn. An exalted one shall he be, and not only a sublime one. The ether itself should raise him, the will-less one. He hath subdued monsters, he hath solved enigmas, but he should also redeem his monsters and enigmas into heavenly children, should he transform them. As yet hath his knowledge not learned to smile and to be without jealousy. As yet hath his gushing passion not become calm in beauty. Verily, not in satiety shall his longing cease and disappear, but in beauty. gracefulness belongeth to the munificence of the magnanimous. His arm across his head, thus should the hero repose, thus should he also surmount his repose. But precisely to the hero is beauty the hardest thing of all. Unattainable is beauty by all ardent wills. A little more, a little less, precisely this is much here, is the most here. To stand with relaxed muscles and with unharnessed will, that is the hardest for all of you, ye sublime ones. When power become gracious and descendeth into the visible, I call such condescension beauty. And from no one do I want beauty so much as from thee, thou powerful one. Let thy goodness be thy last self-conquest. All evil do I credit to thee, therefore do I desire of thee good. Verily, I have often laughed at the weaklings who think themselves good because they have crippled paws. The virtue of the pillar shalt thou strive after. More beautiful doth it ever become, and more graceful. But internally harder and more sustainer the higher it riseth. Yea, thou sublime one day shalt thou also be beautiful, and hold up the mirror to thine own beauty. Then will thy soul thrill with divine desires, and there will be adoration even in thy vanity. For this is the secret of the soul. When the hero hath abandoned it, then only approacheth it in dreams, the superhero. Thus spake Zarathustra. And so ends 35. And this is again the talking about the quest for self-mastery right now. This has an external focus. Apparently, he was a man of whom he was pleasing to look at. Right? Nice, strong shoulders, but a little bit weak in the will department. And maybe if you can get stronger in the will department and stand for the good and no longer do the bad, then your beauty will accommodate to you. You're already beautiful, but you're not truly beautiful unless you're beautiful in the soul. And that is a journey, not necessarily a destination. It is grasping the beauty in life, to see as it comes the things that are and find the beauty within them instead of trying to impose your will and force beauty upon that in which it does not reside. That is what I am pulling from this. It is again the striving to become the Superman, the superhero as he says it here, but no longer just being strong, but being strong and solid, which is two completely different things. You can be strong and vacuous and pay no attention to anything. We see that all of the time with athletes. You can be strong and hard-willed and not understanding and no longer accepting of any change, and we see that all of the time in politics. We need to see men. And men are strong, not weak-willed, not giving in, but strong and standing for what is correct. That is what we need, and then we can see the superhero. Then we can see the Superman, and it is not until then that we will see either one. 36. The land of culture. Too far did I fly into the future. A horror seized upon me. And when I looked around me, lo, there, time was my sole contemporary. Then did I fly backwards, homewards, and always faster. Thus did I come unto you, ye present-day men, and into the land of culture. For the first time brought an eye to see you in good desire. Verily, with longing in my heart did I come. But how did it turn out with me? Although so alarmed I had yet to laugh, never did mine eye see anything so motley colored. I laughed and laughed, while my foot still trembled and my heart as well. Here, forsooth, is the home of all the paint pots, said I. With 50 patches painted on faces and limbs, so sat ye there to mine astonishment, ye present-day men. And with 50 mirrors around you, which flattered your play of colors, and repeated it. Verily, ye could wear no better mask, ye present-day men, than your own faces. who could recognize you, written all over with the characters of the past, and these characters also penciled over with new characters. Thus have ye concealed yourselves well from all decipherers. And though one be a trier of the reins, who still believeth that ye have reins? Out of colours ye seem to be baked, and out of glued scraps. All times and peoples gaze diverse coloured out of your veils, all customs and beliefs speak diverse coloured out of your gestures. He who would strip you of veils and wrappers and paints and gestures would just have enough left to scare the crows. Verily, I myself am the sacred crow that once saw you naked and without paint, and I flew away when the skeleton ogled at me. Rather would I be a day laborer in the netherworld, and among the shades of the bygone, fatter and fuller than ye are forsooth, and nether worldlings. This, yea, this is bitterness in my bowels, that I can neither endure you naked nor clothed, ye present-day men. All that is unhomelike in the future, and whatever maketh strayed birds shivers, is verily more homelike and familiar than your reality. For thus speak ye, real are we, holy, and without faith and superstition. This do you plume yourselves, alas, even without plumes. Indeed, how would ye be able to believe, ye diverse coloured ones, ye who are pictures of all that hath ever been believed? Perambulating refutations are ye, of belief itself, and a dislocation of all thought, untrustworthy ones. Thus do I call you, ye real ones. All periods prayed against one another in your spirits, and the dreams and prattings of all periods were revealer than your awakeness. Unfruitful are ye, therefore do ye lack belief, but he who had to create had always his presaging dreams and astral premonitions, and believed in believing. Half open doors are ye, at which grave diggers wait, and this is your reality. Everything deserveth to perish. Alas, how ye stand there before me, ye unfruitful ones! How lean your ribs! And many of you surely had knowledge thereof. Many a one hath said, there has surely a God filched something from me secretly while I slept. Verily enough to make a girl for himself therefrom. Amazing is the poverty of my ribs. Thus hath spoken many a present-day man. Yea, you are laughable unto me, ye present-day men, as especially when you marvel at yourselves. And woe unto me if I could not laugh at your marveling, and had to swallow all that is repugnant in your platters. As it is, however, I will make lighter of you, since I have to carry what is heavy. And what matter if beetles and maybugs also alight on my load? Verily, it shall not come on that account become heavier to me, and not from you, ye present-day men, shall my great weariness arise. Ha! Whither shall I now ascend with my longing? From all mountains do I look out for fatherlands and motherlands. But a home have I found nowhere. Unsettled am I in all cities, and decamping at all gates. Alien to me and a mockery are the present-day men, of whom of late my heart impelled me, and exiled am I from the fatherlands and motherlands. Thus do I love only my children's land, the undiscovered and the remotest sea, for it do I bid my sails search and search. Unto my children will I make amends for being the child of my fathers, and unto all the future for this present day. Thus spake Zarathustra, and you could almost believe that he was talking today. Bunch of men sitting around looking in mirrors, making themselves pretty and talking about it. Yeah, you can definitely draw that parallel to modern day society. How many men do we have sitting around putting makeup on their faces and trying to act pretty for the camera, right? I brush my beard. I do. I put oil in it every once in a while. I comb my hair over to the side. But I'm not necessarily out here preening for that, right? I am making myself presentable, but this is not about me being pretty. This is about knowledge. This is about seeking better. And for most of the men that he is talking about, that was not the case, right? He was disgusted by society because society back then resembled in large part our society today. Men have been men for a very long time, and there are cycles, right? If you would go back 30 years from present day, it was a different world. Trust me, I was alive then. I was a teenager then, and it was a different world. You didn't see men sitting around putting makeup on. You can bet your ass on that one. You didn't see them sitting around looking in the mirrors. And we didn't have the internet, so there wasn't people doing a whole lot of this either. But you didn't see men striving to not be men. I'm sure that there were exceptions to the rule, but 30 years ago the rule was that men were men, women were women, and there was no exchange between the two. You don't get to just randomly decide to change things about yourself in significant matters, and that was what they were doing as much as it is what they are doing today. It is men unsatisfied with their lot and unknowing of how to fix that, they find something else to try to fix. Instead of trying to seize their destiny and become what they were destined to be, they try to change what they were created to be. And it's sad. And it's the same fight that we're fighting today that we fought then. It's interesting to see it laid out in history, even from someone who was a slightly more effeminate, in my estimation. All right, we're going to do one more and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. This is 37, the Immaculate Perception. When yestereve the moon arose, then did I fancy it about to bear a sun, so broad and teeming did it lie on the horizon. But it was a liar with its pregnancy, and sooner will I believe in the man in the moon than in the woman. To be sure, little of man is he also, that timid night reveller. Verily, with a bad conscience doth he stalk over the roofs. For he is covetous and jealous, the monk in the moon, covetous of the earth and all the joys of lovers. Nay, I like him not, that tomcat on the roofs. Hateful unto me are all that slink around half-closed windows. Piously and silently doth he stalk along on the stark carpets, but I like no light-treading human feet, on which not even a spur jingleth. Every honest one step speaketh. The cat, however, stealeth along over the ground low. Cat-like doth the moon come along, and dishonestly. This parable speak I unto you, sentimental dissemblers, unto you, the pure discerners. Yes, do I call covetous ones. Also, ye love the earth and the earthly. I have divined you well, but shame is your love and a bad conscience. Ye are like the moon. To despise the earthly hath your spirit been persuaded, but not your bowels. These, however, are the strongest in you. And now is your spirit ashamed to be at the service of your bowels, and goeth byways and lying ways to escape its own shame. That would be the highest thing for me, so saith your lying spirit unto itself, to gaze upon life without desire, and not like the dog with hanging out tongue. To be happy in gazing with dead will, free from the grip and greed of selfishness, cold and ashy gray all over, but with intoxicated moon eyes. That would be the dearest thing to me. Thus doth the seduced one seduce himself, to love the earth as the moon loveth it, and with the eye only to feel its beauty. And this do I call immaculate perception of all things, to want nothing else from them, but to be allowed to lie before them as a mirror with 100 facets. Oh, ye sentimental dissemblers, ye covetous ones, ye lack innocence in your desire, and now do ye defame desiring on that account. Verily, not as creators, as procreators, or as jubilators do ye love the earth. Where is innocence? Where there is will to procreation. And he who seeketh to create beyond himself hath for me the purest will. Where is beauty? Where I must will with my whole will. Where I will love and perish, that an image may not remain merely an image. Loving and perishing, these have rhymed from eternity. Will to love, that is, to be ready also for death. Thus do I speak unto you, cowards. But now doth your emasculated ogling profess to be contemplation, and that which can be examined with cowardly eyes is to be christened beautiful. O ye violators of noble names! But it shall be your curse, ye immaculate ones, ye pure discerners, that ye shall never bring forth, even though ye lie broad and teeming on the horizon. Verily, ye fill your mouth with noble words, and we are to believe that your heart overfloweth, ye cozeners. But my words are poor, contemptible, stammering words. Gladly do I pick up what falleth from the table at your repasts. Yet still can I say therewith the truth to dissemblers. Yea, my fishbone shells and prickly leaves now still tickle the noses of dissemblers. Bad air is always about you, and your repast, your lascivious thoughts, your lies and secrets are indeed in the air. Dare only to believe in yourselves and in your inward parts. He who doth not believe in himself always lieth. A God's mask have ye hung in front of you, ye pure ones, and to a God's mask hath your inexorable coiling snake crawled. Verily ye deceive, ye contemplative ones. Even Zarathustra was once the dupe of your godlike exterior. He did not divine the serpent's coil with which it was stuffed. A God's soul. I once thought I saw playing in your games, ye pure discerners. No better arts did I once dream of than your arts. Serpent's filth and evil odor the distance concealed from me, and that a lizard's craft prowled thereabouts lasciviously. But I came nigh unto you, then came to me the day, and now cometh it to you. At an end is the moon's love affair. See there, surprised and pale doth it stand before the rosy dawn. For already she cometh, the glowing one. Her love to the earth cometh. Innocence and creative desire is all solar love. See there, how she cometh impatiently over the sea. Do you not feel the thirst and the hot breath of her love? At the sea would she suck and drink its depths to her height. Now riseth the desire of the sea with its 1,000 breasts. Kissed and sucked would it be by the thirst of the sun. Vapor would it become, and height, and path of light, and light itself. Verily, like the sun do I love life in all deep seas. And this meaneth to me knowledge. All that is deep shall ascend to my height. Thus spake Zarathustra. And this, in my estimation, is a condemnation of those who think but do not do. We are not meant to be excluded from life, no matter how much that may seem tempting. You are meant occasionally to exclude yourself from life, so that you can learn, so that you can grow, so that you can self-reflect, so that you can meditate and spend time in prayer, so that you can learn to appreciate the beauty of the things around you without wanting to change them. But then, you're meant to go and change them. You're meant to go forth with the knowledge that you obtain when you isolate yourself to change the world. Now, granted, that's probably going to be a very small contribution. Right? It is highly unlikely that any singular person is ever going to affect a mass of people. It does happen. Most of the time when it happens, it has negative effects. But it does happen on both sides, positive and negative. People have changed the way we think of things. Buddha changed things. Jesus changed things. Even Moses, misguided as he was, changed things. You are supposed to isolate yourself, refine yourself, and then go forth and help others to do the same things for themselves. You're not meant to change anyone else. You are meant to take what you have learned and become an example by which people can change themselves. That's what I am pulling from this. He is seeing, finally, that maybe he has to go forth into the world and he cannot isolate himself as he is wont to do. And that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment, not too much confusion, to some serious topics, a series of somewhat serious topics. Now, I try not to talk on things that are not clear to me. If I talk about things that are not clear, I try to say it's conspiratorial, or in my mind, or in my estimation, or I think this way, but never in the absolutes. If I am speaking in absolutes, it is probably a generally accepted truth or something that has been directly revealed to me. That's why I didn't even comment on the one, because I didn't get it. Some of these I do, and if I do, then I'm going to talk about it. I do believe that Zarathustra, or Nietzsche, was an extremely volatile man, right? He had highs and lows, probably a bit of manic depressiveness going on there. Not to diagnose somebody that I've never met and not talked to, but the tendency seems to be there to go from manic to depressed to manic to depressed to manic to depressed. But it seems like he was genuinely seeking something. And he got close. He got so very close, but I don't think he ever crossed over. And maybe he did, because there is that switch. And maybe that's what caused him to have his vascular dementia. Maybe he found the switch and he was not quite ready to have access to it. That can be a problem. If you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw me a comment if you agree or disagree. If it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. And if you really like what I'm doing, hit me with that super thanks, because I am not a communist. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Or I appreciate every single minute that you were here with me. I appreciate you too. But I threw myself off. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt's Take. Peace.